Cardinals dropped the first in the series in Baltimore by a final score of 5-2, and we'll talk about it with you here on Cards Hub Postgame, sponsored by Hot Shots here on Sports Hub STL. All content brought to you by DraftKings. The crown is yours. Joe Roderick, Brenden Schaeffer with you here on this Memorial Day. Cardinals have an afternoon game in Baltimore, and as we mentioned, they fall in that. And this is a team. This is a flat game for them. You come out against a probably the worst starting pitcher in all of baseball in Charlie Morton, and as baseball goes, you dominate all of the other team's aces, and then you kind of flop to Charlie Morton. Brenden, what'd you see in this one?
Yeah, I saw the Cardinals kind of flop against Charlie Morton. They just didn't get enough going against this guy. He came in with an 0-7 record, a 7.68 earned run average on the season. We know Charlie Morton's a veteran. He's been around the block. He's been around a long time. But, man, to have the Cardinals have all of those performances that they have stacked up against quality ace-like pitchers this season, and then to sort of lay an egg against Morton today. They don't score anything outside of the Pedro Pages 2-run homer, which he placed that sucker right in the perfect spot down the left field line. I love the way the seats kind of jut in there and allows that to be a home run for the Cardinals. But otherwise, nothing doing offensively, and that's a little disappointing. But with the way that the team played this weekend, I just can't imagine that folks are going to be too up in arms about this one, Joe. It's just unfortunate when you probably had a good chance on paper anyway to sustain some momentum, and they just weren't able to do it against a guy who has really struggled this season prior to this afternoon.
And it's one of those where, okay, yeah, maybe fans will just look at today, and we're seeing in the comments right now, but they're not bad. I mean, really, they're not. Okay, maybe one.
No, there's one.
Is it this one?
This one's the one. Dylan Carlson, baby. Let's go. As hashtag every day. Dylan blast from the past.
16-4 in their last 20, and we're gonna get on them for being embarrassing. Can't have it.
Oh. Hey, Dylan Carlson, 3-run homer. All you can do is laugh. I mean, all of the narratives surrounding Dylan Carlson over the years, and the Cardinals ultimately they just had to let him go for basically nothing by the end of it. And look, he's not having a great year for the Orioles either. He's sort of been the replacement player for Tyler O'Neill. Seems like every time O'Neill goes on the injured list, Dylan comes up. If you get beat by Carlson, you shouldn't be in the league. Look, I was a big Dylan Carlson fan, and I love to see him doing well, but this was probably not the moment we wanted to see Dylan Carlson come through for literally the first time all year, it feels like. He came into today hitting 133, so that'll do it for you. He scores 3 runs for his team on that one swing, and
it's
that's
one of
more
those
than the Cardinals got. So
you're telling me Dylan Carlson isn't going to be just locked into this game, wanting to just come out there and absolutely smoke his old team?
Automatic, dude. There was never a bigger lock. I don't know if you did your Roddy bombs for the holiday, but
that would have been today. No,
he should have been on there. So it's just one of those truisms of baseball. Like, you just feel it in your gut. And unfortunately, it ends up kind of being the difference today. The Cardinals couldn't hit Charlie Morton, so I look more about that than I do about Dylan Carlson beating Eric Fetty for a 3-run shot. But man, that is quite the way to go down with Carlson, the struggles that he has had this year. But Bill is looking on the positive side. Gorman had 2 of the team's 4 hits, and he was swinging the bat pretty well. Defense maybe not as strong for Nolan Gorman. Brendan Donovan had a play that you don't love to see, throws the ball and hits the guy in the back of the helmet. Could have been a double play that would have never led to the Carlson home run. But that was not the sharpest game the Cardinals have played all year. I think we're in agreement about that.
Right. This is a team that going into today had won 16 of their last 14 and have by far. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
16 of their last 20. 16 of their last 20. Yes,
the Cardinals have been playing well.
16-4. 16 of their last 20. Thank you.
That would be really impressive, though.
Yes. The second you stopped me, I realized that what I had just said was not correct. They are 16-4 in their last 20.
Yeah.
And throughout this run that they've been on, which I think I saw today, I think the Sports Hub social media accounts kind of put out there, their playoff expectancy rate was like 38% now with where it's at and what they've done. They've raised it to what they've raised it to over the last 20 games. That doesn't happen without the defense that they have played in the last 20 games and throughout the entire season that they have played. Today, they made 2 errors. I'd have to go back and look and see if they have a game this year where they've made 2 errors in a game and see if that's happened so far.
It's probably happened at some point, but if so, it's been a rarity. I mean, the defense has been really strong, but again, Arenado, one of the best plays I've ever seen yesterday. And we can maybe talk about that rule. I don't know your thoughts on that rule. The ball being out of play, the runner's advance. I thought that was stupid. Like the dude just made an all-time play. And so I whatever. He's
if you're going to put the netting there, then you got to let then anything goes. If he actually goes into the stands, Derek Jeter style, then yeah, but you have the netting there. So
yeah. Anyway, Gorman's got to play third because Nolan Arenado probably needed a day after that. And again, Donovan has been pretty strong defensively, but that was just a spot where you got to guide that throw differently. You got to be on the same page as your shortstop to make sure that you don't beam the runner in the back of the head with the throw. Just a couple little things. And so I don't really think it's the end of the world. It was more to me about the offense today. And people want to talk about Eric Fedde, and I see a lot of comments already, Joe. Time to trade Eric Fedde. Like, Fedde's had an up and down year. It seems like he's had more of these types of starts that stand out, 5 runs or so given up. For that to be the case and him still have a 3.9 ERA, like, this rotation has, I think, spoiled people a little bit with just how darn good it's been. I don't think coming into the year we would be sitting here on, Memorial Day looking at Eric Fedde giving up 5 runs, having everybody yell to trade him, looking up and it's a 3.9 ERA, and that's like just the par for the course for what the entire rotation's been. You got Liberatore, who's pitching like an all-star. We know what Sonny Gray can be. Miles Michaelis has been otherworldly since the Boston debacle early in the season. So, it's one of those games that gets under your skin a little bit because of the way it happens with Carlson, and with Morton out there, should be a hittable guy, and he was crafty enough to keep the Cardinals down today. But
somebody had pointed out earlier too, I just threw it up there, that against Charlie Morton historically, he's 5-12 with a 5 ERA against the Cardinals.
Yeah, but not the current Cardinals. I looked up the numbers. There's nobody really that has hit him particularly well, other than Arenado has like a 780 OPS in a decent sample size. Gorman actually was 2 for 4 lifetime coming in against him, so that's good. But he was a 611 OPS. The current Cardinals against Morton coming in were a 611 OPS. So it's, he's been around for so long. It just feels like sometimes a guy has that wealth of experience. I know he's not been strong this year, but he moves the ball so well. The curveball is such a big pitch for him. And I don't know. He just had the Cardinals off balance today in what I saw.
Right. And again, he probably was due for one. 0 for 7 with a 7.68 ERA.
It's tough. Yeah.
That's, it's one of those, he was probably pitching for his career, honestly, at this point. You're looking at it, you're heading into the month of June. You've already fired your manager. You're probably, I don't know who they really have to trade off because the team is just so damn young right now that you're not trading away any of those guys that, you're probably looking at a guy like Charlie Morton, who is he 41, I think, years old?
He's up there for sure.
I think he's older than me. There's not a whole lot of guys in the league I could say that about, but I could still say that about him. And that's one of those where they're saying, Charlie, hey, you had a really good career. It's time to go. And he's probably pitching for his career today.
Yeah, ERA is still above 7, but the Orioles should not be as bad as they are. And you mentioned their young hitting. It's kind of weird that Carlson's the guy that beats the Cardinals today because they've got a lot of other guys that should be producing a little better than they are. It's been a down year for Adley Rutschman. A couple of other guys probably a little bit mediocre compared to what they're capable of doing. The rotation, though, has been a real kind of sore spot for Baltimore, and for the Cardinals to not take advantage of the guy who's clearly the worst in their rotation is frustrating. But man, after the weekend they had, it's just sometimes you have those kind of letdown games. There's no rhyme or reason sometimes for it, but they're in a good spot. I'll continue to tell people don't look at the standings because the Cubs they're going to beat up on the bad teams that they're playing.
They just started a 3-game series today with the Rockies. So just don't look at it for the next 3 days.
The day I said don't look at it for the first time was maybe like the 12th of May. they were starting a stretch where until June the 6th, they don't play any winning teams, and the Tigers they'll face on June the 6th. And I looked it up this morning. Since that started, they're 9-3. And I said they'd go like 18 of their next 25, so just accept it. That's going to be about correct, and the Cardinals will be within 4 or 5 games, and that'll be okay as long as the Cardinals continue to play the way that they're playing. They really haven't lost much ground on the Cubs in that span, despite the Cardinals having a much more difficult schedule than what the Cubs are facing.
Yeah, and the Cubs made it through their first stretch of I think it was 40 games or so, maybe a little less, where they just went through the gauntlet to start the season. So good for them. It's a good team. Highest scoring team in baseball right now.
Yeah.
The Cardinals are going to show us who they are. The two of them still don't face off for another few weeks for the first time. So
I like that.
Yeah, I don't. I wish it was like a series every month that they would play each other. Just I wish we could get that. I mean, if it's 4 series, space them out. I don't like how they're spaced out. I do kind of. I like it right now, though. I do like that it's the final series of the season. I like the way it's shaping up.
That is relevant. Oh man, that would be so much fun at Wrigley. We will both be there if that's the case.
Oh,
and
100%. Yep.
I kind of prefer the backloaded nature of it though, because when you think about Cardinals Cubs, you don't want to play at Wrigley in April. First of all, like you want the weather to be cooperative. You want that to be meaningful, and I'm almost okay with it. You know, Mike Claiborne would tell us they shouldn't even be playing baseball in April anyway. So I'm good with the games for those divisional rivals that matter, that you want to be excited about. I'm good with those happening a little bit later on in the calendar, especially now with a balanced schedule. They don't play as many as they used to. It used to be a lot easier to do that series every month when they'd play like 18 times, but you chop off a couple of those series and it changes things.
Which I'm fine with the balanced schedule. I love getting to see all the teams, even though, getting to see a team like the Orioles every year is great. And a place like Camden Yards is a stadium I still need to cross off my list and need to get out there and see at some point. I want to get into, I see your comments, everybody. I see comments about Nootbaar. I want to get into the comments about Nootbaar, but first I do want to tell you next Sunday, it's finally here. 35 years of Hot Shots, and they're going to be celebrating out at the St. Charles location. I know we'll have a few people from Sports Hub STL out there at the location in St. Charles, Sunday, June 1st. That's like a home game for you out there, Brendan. The fun starts at noon with the parking lot party featuring the Budweiser Clydesdales. Prizes given away all day long, a dart tournament at noon, a bags tournament at 2, and a chance to win Hot Shots tacos for a year. Congratulations to Hot Shots on 35 years. Hot Shots, St. Louis's home for all the games, all the time, since 1990. Find yours at hotshotsnet.com. Your guy, Lars Nootbaar, is he's struggling right now.
Yes, he is. And the 3 strikeouts, this comment is worth mentioning because my bold prediction was that he would walk more than he strikes out this year. And he was on a pretty good pace for a while there. Today did not help. 3 strikeouts, no walks this afternoon for Newt. Would you flip him with Victor Scott in the lineup? Have you seen enough from Victor Scott that makes you feel like that's a good thing to do? Because he's not necessarily on top of the world right now offensively. Newt still has a better OPS for the season.
I don't want to do that. What I want to do is see Mason win back at leadoff.
Yeah.
I want to see Mason win back at leadoff, Donovan up to that 2-hole, because for as much as Donovan is hitting the ball, had another double today, 18th on the season, I mean, by far and away, he is the Cardinals for sure all-star this so far this year, and hopefully there's a few more than just him.
Matthew Liberatore.
I would agree with that, and then we'll see how June goes for Herrera right now too. But with Donovan being that 2 slot, and then you get into Herrera, Contreras being those 3-4 hitters, being those thumpers down there, and then maybe you put Nootbaar 5th. Maybe you
I would
put
go Nootbaar 5, Arenado 6. That lines up pretty well. I agree.
Yeah, and then Burleson, Walker, whichever one of the 2 there, then your catcher, and then Victor Scott.
And then it loops around to a righty at the top. Yep, I would do that. Yeah, I'm ready for it.
That's. I think. Do you think we're headed that way? Do you think do you think Ollie it will pull the trigger on that?
I think you might see Ollie look to give Nootbaar a little bit more of a run, but it's been a lean. I mean, looking back over the past handful of games, he's racked up 8 strikeouts and only 1 hit with 1 walk. So that's where my my season prediction has really gone by the wayside on him walking more than striking out. I would be totally down with that, Joe. What I would wonder is, like, they like the tone-setting aspect of Nootbaar. Would they be willing to? That's a pretty big shift to the lineup and, like, to the role that Nootbaar would be playing, going from 1 to number 5. We both see how that would fit the lineup. I've always thought Donovan, number 2, he feels just like a really good number 2 hitter. And so I think that would be, but do you find Nootbaar maybe trying to change too much about his game and be more of an RBI guy, or can he almost be that table setter for a guy like Arenado, Walker, Burleson behind him, that sort of thing? Like, I would be down for it. I don't know. We usually see Oliver Marmol try to stick with what has worked, and then even if for a handful of days it's not looking as good, it takes a few more days oftentimes for him to say, all right, let's go ahead and switch it up. So he's going to be more erring on the side of trusting in his guys, but I would actually be ready to see that because I like the at-bats Mason Wynn is still taking right now too.
And this, people throwing it out there. Wynn statistically is one of the worst leadoff men in Cardinal history. Like, and they tried it last year. He was there for more than half the season last year in the leadoff spot. They
didn't have a huge OBP. That's people's problem with it, which I understand for sure.
I get it. That why you want to maybe keep him too, and if he's not a good leadoff hitter, avoid him for that. But my question is, who do you put there?
Yeah, you could
put Donovan there.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is you could just flip the 2 lefties, but I feel like Donovan has been. I don't know. You'd like to think that Donovan's able to get some guys home, but the guys in front of him aren't getting on base enough, so you're kind of missing it on that anyway. We overlook and kind of over scrutinize some of the lineup stuff sometimes. I think I'm always in favor of try it, because what's the worst thing that could happen? Nootbaar's going through a real slump. Giving him a different look, coupling him up next to Arenado in the lineup too. Sometimes you get a different guy behind you can inspire different looking pitches. And they're buddies. I don't know. I'd be totally cool with it. I would move Newt down. Anywhere in that top 5, it's like you're still a prominent role in the lineup. Let's just shake up the juju a little bit. But I guess the question would be, Joe, the Cardinals are playing well as a team. So do you change it up, right? It's not like they've gone on a losing skid. So how do you balance individual results versus team results might be another question when you're Oliver Marmol making out the lineup.
Let me add this by Damien here. Nobody is a favorite for the leadoff spot. Let me just throw this idea out there. Let me just toss this out there, this idea. Let me throw it out there in the Cardinal universe right now.
I know what he's going to say. Go ahead, say it, though.
And take the role. Do you want to type it out right now? And then I'll look after you type it out and put it out there?
Yeah, hold on a
second. I won't look at the private chat. Yeah.
It's in. I'm going to hit enter on this in the real chat once you say it. It's going to be in the real chat for the
Take the role. Account. The same thing the Dodgers do, the same thing the Phillies have done. Herrera leadoff is a DH.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, what were you going to say?
I'll type it in. I said Alec Burleson. Yeah. I thought that was the direction you were going to go.
You know what? Alec Burleson doesn't start every day, though. I mean,
well, maybe it's time. I don't know.
He should be, but I'm just saying right now he doesn't start every day.
Without him in there. How'd they do today without him in there?
They lost with him. Yeah.
That's your Kyle Schwarber leadoff hitter, right? Guy that gets on base.
Give me Herrera out there. Just give me Herrera just hitting doubles and just hitting doubles there at the leadoff spot.
And Herrera, it's funny that I look at Herrera's numbers and I go, well, he's kind of tailed off lately because he was 0 for 4 today, but he had, a good weekend. It just seems like he's tailed off because I'm like, well, his OPS is down to 1100, so he must be really struggling. I would be okay with it with Herrera. That would be definitely a little bit off the, off the norm. Would you go then? There'd be a lefty batting second.
Then you go Donovan second. Yeah.
Wynn gets pushed down though, probably, or do you bat Wynn third? Or do you move him down like now he's
and then you go, then that's where you go Contreras, Herrera 3-4, Nootbaar 5th, Wynn 7th. Then
Arenado
you're not putting Donovan, or you're not putting Arenado down to 7th.
No, it'd be the catcher set. You might as well put Wynn 8th and Victor bat 9th again at that point.
Or Wynn down to back 9th, where
he probably bat 8th and then Victor 9th. Because if you're going Herrera lead off. A righty up at the top,
and then then you have Wynn and Scott right up there. So if they get on base, then Herrera, boom, right back at the top.
I'm going Speedy Biscuits Burley up at the leadoff spot. That's my answer. And you say, well, he doesn't play every day. Well, maybe he should. Maybe we'll just find a way. And I'm not saying that as like a criticism of of Ollie. It's just been Burleson has looked pretty good at the plate recently. 6 hits over his past 6 games, 10 hits over his past 8 games or so. I like the bat that he's been swinging. It's fun to try different things, though. I just don't think with the team not struggling, I don't know if Ollie gets like that's viewed as like a desperation move, and I don't think they have to do that right now because
it's one loss. It's one loss to a bad team, to a struggling team.
Yeah, to a struggling team, a team that's better. How many wins do the Orioles end the season with, in your opinion? What's your because they're on a pace. They're 19-34. So I mean,
75. Do you think can they get the 75?
Yes, I think I certainly think that they can. Right now, they're on a pace.
A run.
Yeah, their winning percentage is .358 right now. That's a pace of 58 wins in a 162 game season.
Again, even the bad teams are going to win games every now. Like it's
I just don't know that the Orioles are. I think the Orioles have no pitching, and they have had no pitching, and they have an offense of guys that are young and they maybe didn't have the right manager in there. They've obviously changed that. And so I think they'll get going. Maybe not 75. I bet they'll win 70 though, which is still, I mean, that'd be a pretty significant jump from their current pace of 58. My point with this is though, don't let this be the series where they get hot. They're capable of a lot more than what they're doing right now. Don't let this be the series where they find their mojo and go on a run. If you don't win the series because you already lost the first one, so be it. You got to at least scratch across a game here, and obviously you'd like it to be tomorrow so that you have a chance to win the series. But don't let the Orioles remember that they've got a good group of hitters this week. Make them wait until after they play you, because this was a game where they didn't blow you away. I mean, Dylan Carlson was the guy that beat you, so it's not as though they just crushed Eric Fetty. Fetty, it seems like a couple mistake pitches is what ends up getting Eric Fetty, and that was maybe another case of that today. So we'll see rest of the week what it looks like, but they'll be looking for a better outing from Palante tomorrow and trying to find a way to make sure you at least get one in this series.
109 games left for them on the season. So if they're at 19 wins now, 75 minus 19
and they have to win
56. So you have to win 56 of 109.
They have how many wins? To win 19. 75 games. Yeah, I was thinking 70. Yeah. That would be a pretty good clip. I'll put them at like 72. They'll be right around what the 2023 Cardinals were. And I think actually very comparable to the 2023 Cardinals in some ways.
Yeah.
Expected to not be as bad as they've been, but they got in such an unbelievable hole that they're not going to be able to dig out of it all the way.
Yeah. So it's again, it is what it is. It's one loss. You just swept Arizona. You had good pitching against them. You come out, you have a bad day. You make 2 errors, you're not going to win. I can guarantee you the Cardinals are not going to have a whole lot of games this year. Maybe you can count them on one hand where they'll have 2 errors in a game the remainder of the season, judging by how they've played the first 50-some of the year. You can sit there if you can bet on it on DraftKings Pick 6. If you can hit the under and go less on it on the DraftKings Pick 6 app, I would do that more often than not, even when it comes to 1 error on the game for the Cardinals. And you can get on the DraftKings Pick 6 app each and every day and check out some of the things they have there to possibly bet on as far as higher or lower on certain stats, whether it's hits, total bases, or you go into hockey with points. You can go into or minutes in a game. You could do NBA where it's points, assists, rebounds, or just points. You can do all kinds of things. You find your favorite players, your favorite teams, or just things you're feeling really good about, and you go higher or lower on those stats on the DraftKings Pick 6 app. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app. Use code STL Sports. That's code STL Sports for new customers. Play $5, get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Better payouts, bigger wins only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
You were before I cut you off there. What were you had a point? It looked like you were going
I
for.
was trying to find the error total the last time they had 2 errors in a game, and I quickly Googled it, which you can't do anymore because Google will show you some crap from AI, which is always wrong. So just never mind. It was completely false anyway. You gotta love that. Joe's favorite little AI tricks and treats.
If we're going of all of the folks at Sports Hub STL, I am very low on that list of people who rely on AI for things. So don't lump me in with some of the others.
Might be on the bottom, but anyhow,
you and Rocky are firmly on the bottom of all of that.
Fight that fight.
You definitely are. That's for sure. No, I was looking at box scores too for a lot of that, and you can't. There's no. I was Baseball Reference. None of those have that up there that you can quickly find throughout the for the season or for.
If somebody finds it and tweets it, I'll give them a internet cookie or something.
Yeah. So again, I mean, you're just looking at. I mean, right now on the season, there are, funny enough, so there are 2 guys on the Cardinals that have 3 errors. That leads the team right now. 3 errors leads the team. Can you guess who those 2 are that lead the team with 3 errors?
Man, no. Like I don't think Arenado's had 3.
Arenado is one of them.
Damn.
Yep.
Did he have 2 in one game at one point or something?
I don't have that in front of me. Yeah, I just have. He's had 129 chances this year. He had 3 errors.
Yeah.
The other one has had 27 chances and has 3 errors.
Burleson, maybe? No.
Barrero.
We've got a guess of Barrero. Is it Barrero?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Nice guess, Trevor. Yeah. Look, man, I already made my thoughts on that whole deal clear. I would have had Ciani on the bench already and just have, what that role is designed for is just to have a good glove that can help you. And if you can't play the infield, who cares? Mason Wynn's not sitting. So I said my thoughts. I let him be known on that whole deal.
Yeah. We'll have to go through and search all the air stuff and maybe we tweet it out at some points. I don't know.
What do you think about this one from Nick? Real progress with
this
Carlson
game
today.
Again. This will forever be known as this is the Dylan Carlson revenge game today.
Do you think they can trade Walker for Carlson? Remains to be seen. Do you know what these are, Joe? Do you recognize these sunglasses?
I don't recognize what are.
These are the broken sunglasses that you thought I got rid of, but I didn't. The first day of spring training, John Mozeliak said, "Are those broken?" They were hanging off my face halfway. And I was like, yeah, they're broken. Some stuff happens, but they're still sitting here on my desk for some reason. So just felt like today was a day to put them on, maybe get the juju out of whatever that Carlson game was. I know people have a lot of feelings about that, but they wanted me to wear an Everyday Dylan shirt today. In the name of old time.
Looking at it, by the way, Mason Wynn, and we'll be the ones that jinx him here. 162 chances on the year, still a goose egg on the airs.
Really?
So
that's hard to do at shortstop.
Yeah.
I mean, with the kind
hopefully baseball's paying attention because there are a lot of really, really good shortstops in the National League, and hopefully baseball's paying attention to what Mason Wynn's doing out there defensively.
And it's not just errors either. That's not the only thing you're judged by. And look, think what you will about the different defensive metrics. I think a lot of them, there's value to at least like looking at what all of them are and then compiling that to get an idea of what a player is. None of them individually, I think, are perfect. But Mason Wynn is 3rd in baseball among shortstops and outs above average as well. So it's not just the fact that he's not making errors. He's going above and beyond at a pretty high rate. Should very much be in play for a Gold Glove with the way that he has started the season. Obviously, though, still a long way to go.
Yeah. So that is something to keep an eye on. And that it really is impressive when you consider the fact there are a lot of plays, a lot of guys that Mason Wynn has thrown out at first base this year by, inches that not that no other shortstop really in baseball probably would, for how hard he throws the ball. Like his arm speed, his velocity is what's being able to get those guys out in some chances. And throwing a baseball 100 miles an hour from that far away and having the accuracy to not throw one away and let one sail on you is pretty impressive.
Right, because he lets it eat in the moments where he has to, and so that inherently is going to lead to less accurate throws, but that just hasn't been the case so far with him. The one that was amazing was in the 9th inning, I think it was, when it was like the cannon that rests atop his shoulder. It had a little kick to it because it basically knocked him flat on his ass, and like he had to throw it so hard that he fell down. But that was when he kind of got up and gave the little deal. That was pretty cool. Mason Wynn's been fantastic this year. There's no doubt.
I will
about
say
that.
this to Nick's point here about Brendan Donovan not getting a starting spot in the All-Star team. The voting has not started yet, as far as I know, for that.
I think that's probably right. Yeah, that's like in June. They usually do that. Maybe it's this week. Like they started Memorial Day. I don't know.
I guess he'd be up there for second baseman, right?
I think the team decides where the players are slotted. I think that's a team decision. Don't quote me on that. But either way, he'll be on the ballot somewhere, and wherever he's on the ballot, frankly, it's up to Cardinals fans to vote for him. And I will say this, it's not me saying Cardinals fans are bad. Cardinals fans do not care about all-star voting. They don't. They haven't cared for years to put a player in that is deserving. Now, is part of that they haven't had quite as many deserving names as they had back in the heyday? Maybe. Is it that, people really dug it when the main way to vote was in the stadium when you could punch the little holes in your card? I used to love doing that as a kid. And now that that's not really a thing, the Cardinals fans, more of an old school fan base, they don't care about doing it online. I don't know. But the Cardinals fans have never been a fan base to stuff the ballot box. Whatever that means to you, I'm not even saying it as a criticism. It's just a fact that I've noticed over the years. So I don't know that Donovan will be getting the votes, nor any other Cardinal for that matter, to be a starter. But I do think he should be in the conversation and recognition as a reserve if he's not voted in.
I'll tell you as I go through here and I'm looking at depth charts of all second basemen throughout baseball right now. What's going to get him is the fact that games in Atlanta, Ozzie Albies is going to get voted in.
That's a fan base that does tend to stuff the ballot box. Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll happen.
Last year, phase 1 of voting went from June 5th to the 27th. So stay tuned in the next couple of weeks. If it's going to be similar this year in terms of timeline, it'll probably be early June when that'll start.
We could start a campaign and get some people to we got a graphics department. We can get something going.
I like being part of winning campaigns, and I just don't think Cardinals fans care. And I'm not saying that as a negative. It's not like I'm ripping them, but I have seen enough examples over the years of all-star voting. They're like, there are fan bases that are crazy, man. They'll get on Reddit or they'll get on and they will come up with a plan and they will get their guys in whether they deserve it or not. And Cardinals fans, I don't know, they got better things to do maybe, which is probably fair, but I just my noticing over the years, take that how you will.
You'll get a whole lot more of Brendan and I here on Sports Hub STL over the next day. Brendan will be in with Randy Carricker tomorrow. I'll be on Postgame tomorrow night following the Cardinals and Orioles game 2 of the series. And we will be back to talk to you about it then with all kinds of Cardinal coverage, really, here on Sports Hub STL between the Randy Carricker show, Cards Hub 365 tomorrow afternoon, and then the post-game show as soon as the Cardinals and Orioles game ends tomorrow night at 8:30-ish, whenever that might be. So keep it locked in here. Smash that subscribe button and make sure that you are locked in to when we go live here on Sports Hub STL, and any kind of instant reaction stuff too. Maybe when everybody gets back to work tomorrow, maybe STL City SC makes a big move and Rockio goes live for 3 hours with that.
Is that it?
That good point. But we will go live whenever that may happen with those city soccer players.
I am locked in on that. Yep.
I'm not.
Is that the guy from Frozen? What's going on?
Yeah. Hey, he's Brenden Schaeffer. I'm Joe Roderick. Talk to you next time right here on Sports Hub STL, brought to you by DraftKings. The crown is yours.